Alrighty guys, welcome back to Star Wars Review. Today I'm reviewing The High Republic Path of Deceit, which is written by Tessa, Gratton, and Justina, Ireland, and released on October 4th, 2022. It's the first Phase 2 novel, and pretty much the first Phase 2 story of The High Republic. There was the short story what came out like a few weeks before this novel did, but I'd say this novel was solid. It definitely was a smaller scale novel, but it also had some pretty big moments and a lot of setup for Phase 2, which all that I really enjoyed. This novel seemingly introduces us to the main villains of Phase 2, which is this force cult called the Path of the Open Hand, which they currently operate on the planet Dalna, which we saw a bunch in Phase 1, but they pretty much believe that the force should be free, as they say. Pretty much that no one should use the Force like the Jedi do, because they say it'll damage it. So, they obviously don't like people like the Jedi. But they're led by this mysterious woman named the Mother, who I guess sees visions. I'm not sure if she's Force sensitive or what, or, if these visions she has are even real. I don't know. Didn't go too deep into that. I assume some later Phase 2 stories will. But, because of that, these visions she has, these people follow her, but I guess she hasn't been a member of the Path of the Open Hand for long. It seems like the Path has been around for a while, and just recently she started to lead them, and because of these visions, she's risen to the top of the cult. But because of that, I definitely do think she's obviously using the cult members, and we pretty much see that in this novel. But this group is seemingly going to become the Nile. In fact, I wouldn't even say seemingly. I'm 100% sure this is the Path of the Open Hand setting up that they're eventually going to become the Nile. And, there's several reasons. Two of the main characters of this novel are Everines, named Marta and Yana Rowe, which they're the same species and have the same last name as Markion Rowe, the main villain of Phase 1 and the leader of the Nile, which right now I'm assuming Marta Rowe will become the first Eye of the Nile, be the person who kind of fully forms the Nile, changes the path of the Open Hand to the Nile, or something like that. Or maybe the Path of the Open Hand is defeated at the end of Phase 1. She's still around, kind of takes the remnants of it and forms the Nile. And, assuming that Markion will be a direct descendant of her. Mainly because she's like super duper into the cult stuff and believes a lot of what the Mother in the Path of the Open Hand says, where Yana isn't. In fact, Yana is part of a group in the Path of the Open Hand called the Children, who are supposed to spread the word of the Path throughout the galaxy, but they're not doing that. In fact, they're stealing stuff like Force artifacts to give to the Mother, which the Mother and them disguise it as if they were given them by the people they stole them from. So Yana knows what the Mother is saying is a bunch of bullshit. But at the start of the story, we learn that they've recently stolen the Rod of Seasons, which is one of the artifacts we see Markion use to control the Nameless near the end of Phase 1. But I'll get into that more in a moment. But it's also shown that the Path of the Open Hand is currently building the Gaze Electric, which will eventually become Markion Rowe's flagship. So, all that pretty much is just straight up is saying this group will become the Nile. And, like I said, I'm kind of maybe expecting maybe the Path of the Open Hand to be defeated, but Marta Rowe survives and then forms the Nile or something like that. Obviously, that's speculation right now. But, like I mentioned earlier, we learn that the Path has stolen the Rod of Seasons. We don't see it. We just kind of learn of it. But we see some Jedi are told about it and how it was, they suspect that it was taken to Dalna, and they kind of suspect that the Path was the one who did it. But those Jedi are Padawan Kevmo Zink and his master Zala Makri, which, they get to Dalna and investigate it all and whatnot. Which, the number one thing I did not like about this novel was kind of the Jedi in it. Definitely Master Zala Makri. We just don't see her very much. There's really not much to her. She's kind of barely in it. And, the investigation and whatnot is but there's maybe a little bit more to it. Obviously, the Padawan Kevmo Zink we do spend a lot of time with. He is one of the main characters of the novel. We get the point of view of with Tim, the Marta and Yanaro, and then another character who I'll get into more in a moment. But on Donna, he meets Marta Rowe, who shows him the path and all that, which I did really like their relationship and whatnot. But I just wish we got more into Kevmo's relationship with his master Zala, because most of the time in the novel Kevmo is away from Zala, and so he's spending time with Marta and whatnot, which like I said, I like that. But I just wish we got more of their relationship as a master and a Padawan. But with Kevmo and Marta, I liked how they liked each other, but because they both part of a Force group, and obviously have very different views on the Force. So I like the moments where they're discussing it and kind of butting heads about the Force and challenging each other's views and whatnot. But like I said, they still liked each other, even though they butted heads a lot. And at some point it seemed like one was going to convince the other into their views and whatnot. And you gotta maybe get them to change sides. Obviously, it doesn't go either of their ways. But I really enjoyed that moments of this novel, and there's probably some of my favorite stuff. But wasn't kind of just based around the the path of the open hand. I guess the bigger picture of the path of the open hand. But like I said, there's one other point of view character we see, which is this character named Radicaz Dobbs, or Sunshine, which he's like a treasure hunting smuggler who works for the mother. Which at the start of the novel, he gets this purple orb thingy for her, which throughout the novel we see the mother with it, which I'll get into that in more in a moment. But this Sunshine character, he's kind of, there's a couple chapters of it where it's his point of view. He's just kind of barely in the novel, so I don't know, I just didn't really care for him that much. But like I said, that purple orb is probably the biggest reveal in the novel. It was, probably the thing I was most excited about in the novel, which it's revealed this orb is not an orb, but an egg, which gives birth to the Great Leveler, which we've seen in Phase 1, which, I guess they're kind of like the main nameless, like the most powerful nameless or something like that. And, at the end of the novel, we see the Jedi, Zala Makri and Kevmo Zink, kind of break into the past compound to get back those artifacts. And obviously they get caught, and the mother uses the Great Leveler to kill both of them, turn them to stone, just like we've saw the Nameless do in Phase 1, which I was definitely surprised by that moment, mainly because I just wasn't expecting it. I will say, like I said, I definitely for Zala Makri, I really didn't care for their death. Obviously, I like Kevmo, but we didn't spend a crazy amount of time with him, so I wasn't as, invested into him also. So I didn't really care for the fact that the Nameless killed them. Unlike, in Phase 1, some of the characters like Lune Greatstorm, I was really, shocked and upset by that. But, in this, I just didn't really care too much. I was definitely more shocked by that, it actually happened. I wasn't expecting the Nameless to, kill Jedi during this phase, because this phase is set 150 years before Phase 1. So it definitely intrigues me to see how the Jedi kind of react to all this, and kind of how the knowledge of the Nameless gets suppressed, because, during Phase 1, the Jedi really don't know who the Nameless are. But also, I don't know if the Jedi will actually fully know what was happening during this phase, with the Nameless, if they'll even actually figure out, if it is the Nameless what's doing this, and maybe just forget about it eventually. Maybe some trail goes cold on any info, so just kind of stop looking into it. So I'm definitely very intrigued by where that will go. But like I said earlier, my biggest complaint with novels is the Jedi. Like I said, I like Kevmo. I thought he was a solid Padawan character, but barely got anything with his master. And, they're supposed to be investigating the path of the open hand, which I just didn't really feel like there was that much of a big investigation. I wish there was a little more there. I do really like the path. I'm really interested in them and how they're this weird force cult. I like the mother. I like Marta Rowe and some of the other characters. Right now I'm assuming they'll kind of be the main villains of Phase 2. I'm not sure which character will be like the Markion Rowe, the one who's like the main big bad. I don't know if it'll be the mother or Marta Rowe or what, but I'm definitely interested in it. Also interested in Marta's cousin Yana, because at the end of the novel, the mother sends her out on a mission, which turns out to be a trap, and her girlfriend gets killed during it. And so she goes back to kill the mother, but that's when everything happens with the Great Leveler and whatnot. And when the egg hatches and kills the Jedi, she's holding the Rod of Seasons, which is used to control the Nameless and the Great Leveler. So the path thinks that Yana has been chosen as its champion or whatever, so she ends up staying with the path. So I'm definitely interested there where her character will go, because it definitely seems like she's still wanting to kill the mother and whatnot. But also the character Sunshine Dobbs, like I said, I just didn't really care for him. He was barely in the novel. I would assume we'll get more of him in later stories. But all in all, I thought the novel was solid. I definitely liked it. I guess I just wasn't super duper into it. I really enjoyed everything it set up. I'm really into the path of the open hand. But at the end of this one, I just felt like it was just missing something, I guess. It felt super small, but then also not super small. I don't know, it's weird. I guess the Phase 1 young adult novels weren't super large novels either. They're kind of small but kind of bigger. So I guess this is kind of the same thing, but I guess because it was the first novel for Phase 2, I just was maybe expecting a much bigger story. So I guess I just felt like there was something missing from this one. So yeah, because I enjoyed a good bit about it, just wish it had just something a little more to it. So yeah, but my grade, I'm gonna give it a B. So yeah, but that's gonna be it for this one. My next High Republic review will be the issue 1 of the Phase 2 Marvel series, so you check that out then. But in the meantime, check out my Phase 1 reviews and everything else I do. But I'm Stars, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.